All right, good morning and welcome back. Welcome to day 2 of the Innovation and Opportunity Conference, and we hope you learned a lot yesterday and made some great connections, and hope we didn't wear you out too much. And again, if there's anything that any of you all need, please don't hesitate to find one of the ambassadors here working who can help you out with any sort of logistics, things like that. So we're going to jump right into this morning's program, and it's a real pleasure for me to get to introduce our welcoming speaker this morning, Senator Cory Gardner. And I probably could and should introduce the senator without notes, but this is one of those ones I don't want to mess up. So I'm going to tell you a few things about the senator and then turn it over to him. So Senator Gardner is a fifth-generation Coloradan from the eastern plains of our great state, where I gather we had a little snow this morning, unexpectedly. But in the Senate, he serves on the Energy and Natural Resources Committee, the Foreign Relations Committee, the Budget Committee, and the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, where notably for us, he is a member of the Space, Science, and Competitiveness Subcommittee. The senator is also the chairman of the Subcommittee on East Asia, the Pacific, and International Cybersecurity Policy, another very important issue. Senator Gardner was one of the original authors of the American Innovation and Competitiveness Act and the Space Weather Research and Forecasting Act. And Senator Gardner co-sponsored the Support Startup Businesses Act, legislation to establish a temporary pilot program to allow SBIR company or awardees to use a small portion of their grants for startup-related commercialization activities. So no stranger to a lot of the issues we're talking about here. So please help me welcome Senator Cory Gardner.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Art, very much for the kind introduction. It's great to be here this morning, and it was snowy on the eastern plains this morning. I live in a little town called Yuma, Colorado. For the Coloradans in the room, you may or may not know where that is. It's the place that goes by on the bottom of the television screen, hailstorm coming, take cover. That's where I live, but this morning we had about 3 inches of snow and quite a bit of ice, and I was totally getting a lot of points on Waze this morning because there's not that many people posting to Waze, and so when I put on their icy roads, oh yeah, I was getting 6 points every time. It was great. But thank you all for the chance to be here to talk to you about opportunities. I know this is a crowd of both Coloradans as well as people from out of state. If you're from out of state, raise your hand, please. I'd just love to get it. This is great because you'll be back. It's great to have you here in Colorado, so we're excited about this. I want to thank Kelly Manning, Sharon King for the work that they're doing here today, the aerospace champion Jay Lindell, who most of you have gotten to know. If you haven't, you should. Art as well for the kind introduction and putting this, the NASA Space Technology Mission Directorate, for your dedication support for Colorado. Colorado is the epicenter for a Colorado first space opportunity and vision. I'm really excited about it. As a member of the Senate Commerce Committee, I'm the first member from the Senate to be a Colorado senator to be on the Commerce Committee in over 40 years. And this really is the epicenter right now of what is happening in space and telecom. So much of what we're doing in Colorado and really this commercial and defense space industry. We have jurisdiction, obviously, over NASA, have jurisdiction over the FAA, and as one of our first committee hearings last year, I can remember, I'm a kid who grew up writing, I was that kid. I wrote letters to NASA when I was a kid. And I remember writing a letter when when the space shuttle was launching. I believe Sally Ride was the shuttle mission that I had written during that time period, and NASA was kind enough to write me a letter back. You know, they had the old worm letterhead, NASA, the worm logo, and they wrote me a very nice letter. They included a picture of that shuttle mission, so I have this great photo of the crew on that mission with Sally Ride, and a very nice letter that kindly probably informed me I wasn't smart enough to be an astronaut. But it was a very nice letter, very nice letter. But always been engaged in this. I was excited to work this year on the Support Startup Businesses Act, as Art mentioned, which was included in the National Defense Authorization Act. This legislation that I sponsored was included because we understand the importance of getting to work and helping every bit of the way when it comes to innovation, to research, to technology, and to making sure that we move beyond just the hands of government, just beyond the hands of our research institutions, just beyond the hands of our private sector, but that we actually combine all of the efforts together so that we can learn from each other, that we can innovate together, that we can ease those opportunities to do so in a more collaborative, innovative, and creative way. The legislation stresses the importance of government partnering with startups to adopt new technologies that advance our national interests and our national defense. Establishes a temporary pilot program that allows small business innovation research awardees to use a small part of their grants for startup-related commercialization activities, while also requiring yearly reporting. I know that's the fun part, by the awardees, so that we have that information for the American public, so they can go back and see how great these dollars were used when it came to the commercialization and the effect and opportunity that it created. The awardees of the Small Business Innovation Research Program are authorized by the Support Startup Business Act, are able to allocate up to 5% of their awards for activities that are critical to building businesses like market validation, intellectual property protection, market research, and business model development. I've seen firsthand the impact of the aerospace industry. We all have in Colorado and beyond, and particularly in the small businesses across our state. And aerospace businesses are located in every nook and cranny of our country. You think sometimes of aerospace as being maybe more of an urban or suburban experience, but if you go out to places on the eastern plains of Colorado, there are small businesses that are working in aerospace, doing composites, machining little parts that go into space. It really is incredible, the jobs that have been created. And that is helping to drive American ingenuity and creativeness. Recently had the opportunity out at Front Range Airport to tour Reaction Engine's new high-temperature airflow test facility that's near Watkins, Colorado. If you don't know where Watkins is, it's okay. It's near Deer Trail, Deerfield out there, so it's good. And where I learned about this technology, it was their pre-cooler heat exchange technology, which is going to allow, get this, a test facility exposing pre-cooler test articles to high-temperature airflow conditions in excess of 1,000 degrees Celsius that are anticipated during high-speed flights up to Mach 5. That's remarkable. And we're doing that work on the eastern plains of Colorado and at the airport near Watkins, which was recently took one big step forward to a new spaceport designation. Our success in the future space economy is highly dependent on cultivating a diverse and innovative, skilled technical workforce. We must further inspire, engage, educate, and employ the next generation through expanding and strengthened STEM pipelines. I've introduced the Chance in Tech Act with Senator Martin Heinrich from New Mexico to encourage an industry-driven approach to creating apprenticeships and closing the technology skills gap, as well as legislation that can create incentives for businesses to attract and retain talent. One of the biggest concerns I hear from employers around the state of Colorado is how do they find and retain the employee pool that they desperately need. This morning, if you saw the new economic reports, the people applying for unemployment benefits, down to the lowest levels since 1973. That's a year before I was born. This economy is moving, but it makes it very difficult for businesses to attract talent and keep it. So I've introduced legislation, the Student Loan Repayment the Student Loan Repayment Acceleration Act, which would allow businesses to do what they're already doing, but getting Washington out of the way. Many businesses around the country are allowing they actually make a payment, a student loan payment, assisting their employees with their student loans. This would allow that business to make up to a $10,000 contribution to a employee toward their student loan. The business would no longer have to pay a payroll tax or unemployment tax on that $10,000, up to $10,000, and the employee who receives that student loan benefit wouldn't have to pay an income tax on that student loan benefit. So many businesses are already doing that. Some don't, but maybe this will be an incentive for people to start doing it, an incentive for others who are doing it to make that dollar even stretch further. And this could be a partnership. Maybe the business will contribute 90% of that. Maybe they'll contribute 10% of it, but they can tailor it the way they need to help meet their workforce needs. And I hope that it becomes a great way to partner with employees to help retain and attract a talented workforce. Aerospace is an incredible role in Colorado's economy, thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs across this state, and I'm certainly proud that Colorado is a leader in aerospace. I want to end it with this story. I had the opportunity about a year ago to travel to Jordan. We were meeting with various defense leaders, the government of Jordan, and as we were flying into Amman, Jordan, I couldn't help but look down and that town. It was about dusk, and this town was just packed with cars, traffic jam, that were traveling on streets lit up by street lights, flying on this great plane. And I couldn't help but think about the innovations that created this moment. The cars that were developed by American ingenuity and know-how, the opportunity to have streets lit up by the best and the brightest minds in the United States, flying on an airplane that was generations descended from great inventors. To continue the greatness that created those world-changing technologies, we have to make sure that we have policies that reflect continued advancements in research, innovation, opportunity, to attract the best and the brightest minds from around the world to come to the United States, because this is a place where we think big. To come to Colorado, because this is a place where we think big and do big and great things that change the world. That's what each and every one of you are doing today. The government can't do it alone. We have to do it together. The partnership between business, research, innovation, all of you should be proud of the work you do to make our country a stronger, better place that continues to be the beacon of hope for the world. Thanks to all of you. Enjoy the rest of the day. And I think we're going to get a little snow a little bit more, so if you stick around the weekend, have fun. Thanks.